Tonight we're going to talk about what I see missing in the metaphysical community. And I'm sure you do too. It's just I'm going to bring it to your attention. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about, for a few minutes here, what it is that you think is missing within the metaphysical community. And I want you to write it down. And I don't want you to show it to anybody. Just write it down somewhere on a piece of paper. So get a piece of paper out. Someone right on the back of your paper plate. This is for you to look at later on. Because when I get done, I want you to go back and first thing I'm asking you to make a commitment as to what it is you think is missing. Because I think I can guarantee you that you all would agree with me. At the same time, it's critical enough that I think that we need to give this attention to this. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the metaphysical world, a little bit, and then we're going to get into my first-hand stories, some of the things I've experienced, and then I'm going to share with you in some detail as to how it is that we can implement what we see missing. But I want to also ask you, if you haven't written down what it is you think is missing yet, think about the gifts that you have, the gifts and talents that you have. Now, there are some gifts that when we came into this world, they were naturally given to us, like the ability to be a public speaker or to be an artist, like Jerry here, or be a writer like Ron is. You know, there are numerous of that have certain talents that we have where we can use as we came into this world. And then there are other gifts that we have been given to us of the Spirit, of the Spirit. And some of those are, I think, my opinion is that when we came into this world, they were dormant within us. We already chose those gifts before we came into physical form. And they are sitting there like treasures hidden within us. And so we have to go find them. Sometimes they show up in the most remarkable way, and that's where I'm going to be heading later on at the end of the talk. But first I want to talk, so I hope you've written down what you think is missing, and I hope you have thought a little bit about what some of your gifts are. Or, sometimes if you don't know what your gift is, at least you can follow where's your desires, what's your intentions, of what kind of experience are you wanting to have in this world, Now, the metaphysical world, as you know, is not that big. I mean, at least in popularity, okay? And yet, at the same time, I'm going to throw some figures at you. Here, I went online and I did some research. So this is a report from the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums. This is a website you can go look at. And after I get done reading this to you, I'll pass it around so you can take a look at this. According to their organization, the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums, there's an estimated number of psychics and mediums and healers in the United States and Europe in the year 2012, the number of 45,700. Okay? 45,700. That's a small number if you think about the United States and Europe.
These guys say certified.
Certified.
Right. Well,
I'm not certified.
Who's certified?
I'm
I
not
bet
certified.
you almost all of us do some of that. And I bet you none of us are read the list.
That's true, yeah. This is according to their statistics or their surveys they've done. Approximately the number of women in the United States who have spent more than $10,000 for a psychic reading in the year 2012 is 275,000 women. Men, only 300. Spent $10,000. They spent $10,000 in getting a reading. Okay?
Wow.
The approximate annual income for a very successful psychic or medium in the United States is over, is that right?
That's what it
It
says.
says $5 million.
I don't believe
Reading. I thought a year.
You're going to the house, couldn't find you. Oh,
In fact, let me read the rest of this. Approximate number of psychics and medium healers in the United States, there are 17 who are millionaires.
it. Okay, let's listen to Steve, please.
Did you hear me? 17 are millionaires. But the reason I brought all this up is to show you that this is an industry, a money-making industry. And I agree with what he just said, that most people who probably are using their gifts are doing it for free. Why is that?
That's just the way it is.
Why is it?
Because it's a spiritual
Hostility.
gift.
Because it's a spiritual gift, like Jesse said, it's just the way it is. You want to help people.
Very good, that's right. You just have to understand, if this is a gift that we have, do you earn a gift? Do you have to go out and earn a gift? No, gifts are gifts. They're given to you because you didn't go out and earn it. It's just a gift that's been given to you. And if you possess a gift, if it is a gift, are you going to charge for it?
Right. But it's also a discipline.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
But
We
why not?
have-
Yes, you charge for it, yes.
Why not?
Why not?
It's an energy exchange.
Yes.
Why not?
Exactly.
I charge
So
for
we're going to
it.
talk about this tonight.
I do free and I charge for it.
What's happened is, when we live in this world, or what we call the system, I call it the matrix, we believe that we have to work to make a living. You follow what I'm saying?
That's the brainwash.
And in this world, that is true. In this world, it is true. But as we experience this awakening through the Spirit of God within us, we move into a higher vibration that's not on this level. And that's where the gifts, because that's where the confusion comes in. The confusion comes in by saying, and he just made a good point. If I was able to do energy healing on you, and I was able to heal your ailment better than what a doctor did, you would say, well, why would you not want to charge for that? Because the doctor charges a lot of money, I know, to do that. And I had that very same experience happen to me a few months ago. I'm real quickly here. 4 or 5 months ago, I injured my knee so severely, I could not get out of bed for almost 3 days. And I ended up walking with a cane. Frank came over, brought me a cane, Tony brought me a cane, and I was able to move around in the house with a cane. And then I ended up going to visit a friend of mine who did energy healing. And I went to visit with him because we're just friends. And I said, Marty, would you mind doing something for me? And he did. And I can't say that something happened instantly at that very moment. Something did happen, because as soon as I left there, I went to the store, and I'm walking around the store with my cane, and this back spasm started coming up on my back. And I said, what is this about? Because I just got through believing that Marty was able to help me with my knee. And the Spirit said, pick up the cane. And I picked up the cane. I started walking around the store without the cane, and the back spasm went away, and I never had a problem with that knee since then. So it was interesting how that transpired. And yet, Marty, well, I did give him some money because I felt like I should. It was nice. Let me reword that. It was a gift that I gave to him because he gave me a gift. And that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yes.
The point I'm making is, when we think that we have to charge X number of dollars for our giving, I ask you to think about that. I'm asking you to think about that.
It
And,
depends.
all right, let me finish for you, then I want to hear what you have to say. So, you exercise whatever gift or whatever ability that you have to offer them, you give it freely, and hopefully, I say the word hopefully, they will gift back to you whatever it is that they feel they need to give you, whatever it is they can give you at the time. I know this is a challenge. I know this is a challenge to start thinking this way. What do you have to say, Will?
I was gonna say, if you have a gift that people know about it, they want it, and they want it, and they want it, and they take your time, and they take your energy. You can't.
Well,
And
wait, but see, you're feeling obligated to give your gift. Wait, you have to understand here. There's a balance on this whole thing. I understand what she did. You understand what she just said? Okay? That if they know that you have a gift, they're going to keep coming to you, and there's going to be a huge long line outside the house. Whether or not you make yourself available to them, that's your choice. You see? You can only give what you have to give, And if you give and they drain your energy, then you no longer have the gift flowing through you. You see what I'm saying? So you have to create your own boundaries. You follow what I'm saying? This is really somewhat logical, but this is also wisdom. Wisdom is to know how to be responsible for the gifts that you have. I don't care if you're giving a reading, an energy healing, or if you're doing, whatever you're exercising. The point I'm saying is that you have to let these gifts flow through you, and people have to learn how to give back to you. Now, I know that we're not all there yet. I'm not saying that we are, okay? But I'm opening this up, okay, as a possibility for us to see things a little bit differently, okay? Now, let me share with you the thing that I really see missing. That's not even the thing I see missing. I haven't even got to that yet. In recent years, I have attended some metaphysical events. We'll call them events, okay? And I kind of correlate them, those of you who don't know, I'm a professional magician. I do magic shows. I make people laugh, have a good time. I do magic tricks like you see on TV. That's what I do for a living, okay? So I go and do parties and corporate things and, you name what it is that I do, and that's pretty much what I do. So, can you imagine me going to a magic convention of 100, and I used to attend about 3 or 4 magic conventions every year. We're talking about 400 or 500 to 1,000 magicians in one hotel, all hanging out and having conventions. Now, who do you think has the biggest ego? We all do. Because, I know something you don't know, and we're showing off our tricks to each other, and so there's a lot of competition that goes on. But it's part of the thrill that we all have in the world of magic, okay? At the same time, there's a camaraderie among us, among the magicians. And we gravitate to the people that we feel that we can communicate with and share with, and we do. We do. That's why you go to the conventions. Now, they do sell their secrets, They say, well, I know something you know, but I'll be happy to sell it to you if you want me to, and they do some of that, okay? That experience, I correlate with what I see in the metaphysical world right today. The same thing is happening. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. I go and I sit and I watch and I see what's going on in the metaphysical world. And say, well, I do this and I do that, and I charge this much for that, and I have this for sale, and that's how much that is. And well, I don't talk to that person over there because I have my reasons of whatever. I don't agree with what it is that they say or whatever it is they do. I hate to say it, but the egos are still coming out. In the metaphysical world. We create we draw lines in the sand as about how it is that we're going to exercise our gifts, which I understand. There's a balance between your own owning your own gift and knowing how to use it freely, at the same time not extending yourself to the point where you're being abused. Okay? Now, I hope nothing I'm saying here tonight is threatening to you. If it is, please know that this is all in love. Okay?
Make sure you say that.
Pardon?
Make sure you say that.
And I want to tell you, that is probably the one thing that I see missing. I just said it. And it is love. I don't see near the love in the metaphysical world that I think I should be seeing or experiencing.
Yeah, you're true.
I see division, I see separation, I see backbiting, I see ridiculing. I went to a meeting with a group of about 40 people, something like 30, 40 people, and I brought some friends with me, and on the way home, we started talking about our experiences. And the one thing that we were disturbed by is the way other people were talking about each other during that meeting. But here we are, spiritual people,
Yes.
claiming to be spiritually awakened, and yet we still don't understand what this love is about.
On the table, but
The emphasis upon what we are and what we're doing should be on love, unity, and harmony,
Yes.
and bringing everything together instead of separation. The world wants to separate us. It wants to keep us in separation. It wants to keep us in competition against each other. That's what it wants. The whole system, the worldly system, is controlling all of us and separating us and making it far more difficult. That's why we have to wake up and realize the Spirit within us is the source of all things, and for us to come together in
No, I
unity.
think we need.
My own experience has been this. You have to believe that if what you're doing is of Spirit, which is the source of all things, then you have to believe that the source will provide for you. You have to. Because if you don't, then it's contrary. You're in conflict with what your beliefs are. You know, you may have heard it said, look at the lilies of the field, look at the trees, the birds of the trees.
They all work for the food.
The universe provide for them and care for them, right? Right? Okay, now I am going to read from you, with you, from the Bible. I hope you, how many of you have trouble with the Bible? You don't have to raise your hand, you can if you want, okay? Well, I'll be honest with you, I do too. I have a lot of trouble. I used to believe that the Bible was the infallible Word of God. That means there was no errors at all. I used to believe that at one point in my life because I was raised a Christian and I had gone to school. I actually had gone to school for reading the Bible, for teaching the Bible. Now I see it completely different, but I'm not saying that they're not valuable words of information, wisdom in the scriptures. So I'm going to read to you, and this section I'm reading to you may have never heard before, and it's about spiritual gifts. Okay? And it falls a little bit in line with what you were saying here, in a little bit you'll see. Now there are a variety of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are a variety of services. There are a variety of activities, but the same God who empowers them all and everyone. To each is given to the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For one is given the Spirit of utterance of wisdom, to another the utterance of knowledge, to another faith, to another gift of healings, and to another the working of miracles, to another is prophecy, to another the ability to distinguish between spirits, another the various kinds of tongues and the interpretation of tongues. All these are empowered by the one and the same Spirit. Did you know that was in the Bible?
They will not bring it up in church for nothing.
I can't hear you, guys speak up.
I said, they will not bring it up in church for nothing.
No, they won't, no, you're right. You may have not heard this in church,
There's no way
not
you can
because
write.
they're not practicing these things. They're not using the gifts. They think the gifts, most of the fundamentalist church and evangelical church think that the gifts were only of the old time and that was it. And that's been fulfilled is what they teach. And they don't use these gifts and therefore they're making a serious mistake.
What book was that in?
Hmm?
Which book of the Bible was that in?
This is from 1 Corinthians
Oh, Corinthians.
12. Is what I'm reading right now, okay? For just as the body is one, there are many members of the body. Though there are many, they are all one body. For the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot should say, because I'm not the hand, I don't belong to the body, what would it make it any less part of the body? If the ear would say, because I'm not the eye, that I don't belong to the body, that it would not make any less part of the body? And if the whole body were an eye, would there be any sense of hearing? If the whole body were an ear, would there be any sense of smell? But as it is, God has arranged the members of the body, each one of them, as Spirit chose. If all were single members, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. So the emphasis here is the fact that we all have different gifts. We all have different abilities to manifestation, but it's all to bring us together as a body with different parts of the body functioning, you see? And yet we still find among us that we have a tendency to criticize one another, just as he just described right here in the scripture. You know, the hand can say, well, I'm not part of you, I'm not the foot, so how can we be a part of the same? We are. We're all the same Spirit. I was always taught as a Christian that I was to love everybody, but I didn't love everybody because I could not see within you the divine that you are. I do today. I am connected to Mother Nature. I am connected to the earth. I can feel, I can sense this now because my awareness has expanded, and I totally agree with what he just said. And Paul, it goes on here to read, let me read some more here. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker or indispensable are those parts of the body that we think are less honorable to be bestowed the greater honor upon, our unprecedented parts are treated with great modesty, which is more presentable parts are not required. So basically, even if you have a small part, whatever it is you do, it is honored just as much as anybody else that has a gift. And Chris, we have a tendency within our metaphysical community to go, oh, you do readings? Oh, you do energy healing? And we think that is the ultimate, and we give all honor and brag and go on about that, when the gift of administration, the people who come in and organize and set up the tables, the people that send out the newsletters and all that stuff is just as valuable, and it's still a gift, okay? All right. But God has not so composed the body greater honor to the part that lacked it, that there may be no division in the body, that the members may have the same care for one another, and one member suffers, all suffer. If one member is honored, let all rejoice together. And now I will show you the more excellent way. So it's really, the more excellent way is not the gifts. And what was it I said earlier that's missing?
How love is your gift?
You said love. And that is the answer. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to read this to you here, because the next chapter that comes after it is about love. And I can tell you this much. When I begin to experience the divine love within me, at the level that I'm experiencing right now, the gifts and talents opened up to me in an abundance. And what's happening is I am being motivated by love to minister to whomever, whatever their needs are, and whatever needs they need, it shows up within me to be able to give that to them. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't think you have the gift of healing, and someone comes to you and asks to be healed, just do whatever it is you think you know to do based upon the motivation of love, and watch what happens. Now, I'm going to read this to you, and we'll come back to that. How's my time? I'm okay. If I speak in tongues of men and of angels and I have not love, I'm just like a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. But if I have prophetic powers to understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith to remove a mountain, and I do not have love, I'm nothing. If I give away and I have what I have, all that I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, and I have not love, I've gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will be done away with. For we know in part, and we only prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect comes, the partial will pass away. And when I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I gave up my childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, and I shall know fully, even as I have fully known. So faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. And what he's saying here, he says, is true. The gifts are only here present with us right now because we don't have the total connection to source. We lack that. We all do. So the point is that we have what we have in whatever portion we have. So like when I do a reading for someone, I had a guy yesterday, he said, well, he asked me about, I'd say something, I'd say, this is what I'm getting, and he said, well, what else? What about this, and I go, okay, let me ask. And I would go, I always go and ask, and I wasn't getting anything for it. And he goes, well, why can't you tell me? And I'm going, because I only got my part. So you got to go find somebody else who has the rest of it for you. You follow what I'm saying? And yet, I know people who do readings and go, well, I know it all. Let me tell you what I'm going to tell you. And they begin to spew out this, forgive me for using that word, but what they think is the answer. I don't even know where this is coming from. Okay, that's being critical. Here again, if you do energy work, inner healing work on someone, and they don't get the full healing, it doesn't mean that what you did doesn't matter, because you don't understand it. We don't completely understand it. But maybe they need to go to the next person. Maybe they need to be asking what's blocking this healing. Maybe they need to do their own connection. There are numerous things that come into play here, and yet, so we have a tendency to criticize our own gifts and our abilities when we can't deliver what people want. And at the same time, Spirit is designed it that way. And that's why it says, we know in part, we see in part, and when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, he says, I look into a mirror and I see dimly, I don't see it clearly. But the time will come when I will see face to face. And what that means is, you will see the face of God, as we might say. Okay? You will know, it's in the knowing. Now, I like to use the analogy, if you all saw the movie, The Matrix. In the movie The Matrix, Neo, once he comes out of the Matrix and comes in and awakens to who he really is, he begins to understand that he's a unique spiritual being, is what he is, in human form. And when he doesn't know something, they put him in this chair and they put this thing in his back of his brain, and they download the information to him instantly. I don't know if you've not seen the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you go see it, go rent it. Put this little electrode in his back of his brain, level set, and now he knows whatever it is he needs to know. Spirit does that for us, and will do it for you if you are motivated by love. Now, if you let your ego come out there, then you're going to struggle and try to figure out, okay, how do I do this? What do I do next? Do you put this over here, you do that over there, and then you do this, and you have them stand there and go like this. We create these rituals, things that we think we have to do to exercise our gifts. And I'm saying it doesn't always work that way, folks. It's love. If it's not coming from the heart, if you're not motivated by the heart to exercise your gifts, you're missing it. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize. What you experienced was a love for yourself and a love for them. If you're holding the intention of vibration of love, then it will all come forward, and you'll be able to exercise your gifts. So yes, when I too have had the same problem. I would get a message or feel compelled to do something, in spiritual work, and I'm going, well, wait a second, what do I know about that? I begin to question myself. I mean, why would I want to? I remember the first time I actually did, quote unquote, a reading for someone. And I connected, and I got the message, and the message didn't make any sense. And I actually said to the lady, I said, I'm hearing that you're not here. And she says, she started laughing, she goes, yeah, you're right, I'm moving. And I said, oh, that's what it is. And then all of a sudden, I got the next message for her about her moving. And then I got the next thing. So I didn't get it all at once. My brain wanted it all at once. It wanted to understand what it is I was getting into doing the reading. You follow what I'm saying? And it doesn't always come that way. Sometimes it's a step of faith. So you speak whatever it is you have and wait and see what happens. You follow? But the point is, I was doing it out of love. This lady was coming to me because she wanted some help, had some questions about things. I had no idea what she was coming to see me about, at the time. You follow? But the whole thing is, what I'm trying to point I'm making is understand that it is a gift, and that you are meant to give that out of love. And let love be your motivation. And as we look at ourselves as a community, not just here in this room, but as a whole community here in our county, in Florida, in the United States, as a whole, to begin to see ourselves unified in the fact that we're one body with different parts of the body and different manifestations of gifts. for us to come together and love one another. We still don't know how to love one another.
Yes.
We don't know how to love ourselves.
We don't know how to love ourselves.
Exactly.
This
That's
is
true.
the key.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Once you love yourself, that's it.
What?
Once you love yourself enough, then you reach to the point.
It's love your neighbor as you love yourself.
If you don't love yourself.
If you don't love yourself, it's hard to
That's
love your
exactly right.
neighbor.
That's exactly right. And I'm at a place now where I freely say to people, thank you, thank you, I appreciate you. I say, I love you. And you know what? People have trouble saying I love you back. A lot of them do. When I say I love you, they stumble all over themselves. They can't say you're welcome. We cannot change people. It's the Spirit of God's job to do that. And only we can do is hold the vibration for them. As I do with everything that's going on in the world right now. All the stuff, I mean, all the ugly stuff that's happening right now in the world. I mean, there's stuff going on that you don't know anything about probably. Stuff that we don't even want to know about. But the point is, I hold that energy in my heart of intention of love that heals these things and brings light into the darkness. Because in all the darkness that's going on in the world right now, and God bless Hillary Clinton right now because she obviously is very sick, and she needs healing, but the world needs to be healed, and that which is corrupted needs to be exposed. And when you hold negative energy into your body, it's going to manifest itself. At the same time, we can bring healing to the world, and that's what we're here for. Those of us who are aware of what's going on is to raise the vibration and to bring unity and harmony to the world. This love that's referred to in the Bible is an unconditional love, and the Greek word is agape, and it is a love that has no judgment to it. And as I have worked to open my heart to that energy of love, I've actually had to learn to let go of all the judgment, to let go and see things as they are, knowing that the universe is working everything together, bringing everything together. And even though I don't understand it all, I don't need to understand it all, because I know in part, as it just said, but later I will understand as I open myself up. So the point, the motivation is love. And as she said, first, and Ron said, you have to learn how to love yourself first. And unconditionally. Meaning that, allow yourself to see your dark side, to see your shadow side. Allow yourself to not be hard on yourself, to feel like you have to do things just right. Because it doesn't work that way. That's not how Spirit works. Spirit doesn't speak to you that way. If you think that the Spirit of God is telling you what to do and correcting and pointing out and criticizing who you are and tell you how you messed up, that's not God. That's not the Spirit of God.
This is why we don't go to church. This is why we don't go to church no more.
So, that's basically what I had to share with you tonight. I hope it's been an encouragement for you. And I know, let me say this, I know that we are all coming together, we're all learning this. What I'm sharing with you right now is something that's happening and has been happening for a long time. As we're going through this shift of consciousness with Mother Earth and as a whole, we're all going to learn how to love one another, to put down our barriers, put down our judgments, stop judging ourselves, because we're too critical of ourselves. Especially you two people right here. No, we are really hard on ourselves. We really are. And I understand why, but does it really matter? No, I love you. I love you. And you should love me and be able to express your love to me and however you see fit to be able to give that gift. I don't care if it's love, a pat on the back, a handshake, or money.